your host, Andrew Romanella.
When you play Battle in Mario Kart and you don't turn off any of the items, there are bananas everywhere. I mean, it's like you're losing your balloons because you're slipping on bananas left and right. Bananas everywhere. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of The Rome Show here on 12ouncesports.com, broadcast live on YouTube and X. I am your host, Andrew Romanella, and boy, are we fired up today, November 6th, 2024. We completed what I think was the most important election in U.S. history, and it seems to be that we came out on the right side. Yeah, America. Great day to be an American. I look forward to the next 4 years, and I am praying that things from a cost standpoint start to dramatically drop. But what a great start to the day for the Romo Sapiens. We have so much to break down. The college football playoff, they released their first top 25 of the year. Now, if you're sitting at home saying to yourself, well, I've been looking at a top 25 in college football all season. What do you mean they just released it? Well, here's how it works in college football. There's only one top 25 that is released. It is after week number 10, I believe. And that is the college football playoff ranking. That is the determinant for who will be in the playoff and who will not be in the playoff. So that came out last night. And I was a little confused because I didn't fully understand it either. So I thought I'd give a breakdown for our peoples today. The NFL trade deadline ended yesterday. What a Tuesday in American history. The NFL trade deadline, college football playoff, first official poll in the first year of a 12-team playoff, and the presidential election. What a day. So we got to talk about the trade deadline in the NFL because a lot was going on yesterday. A lot of teams trying to make moves. And I think the cool thing about the National Football League this year with its trade deadline is there's actually a lot of teams that could make a run at this thing. There's a lot of parity. There's not a lot of, wow, those 12 teams have to sell because they're atrocious. That's the opposite this year. It's almost like there are so many teams that are a coin flip away from going from, 6-2 to 2-6, that the trade deadline this season for the National Football League felt much like other sports, probably more so like baseball, where it's just deadline deals to try and affect your team or sell and then prepare for the future. And some other news we'd like to go over, more specifically in Philadelphia, where Joel Embiid has been suspended 3 games by the National Basketball Association. I don't know if everybody realized this story was going on, but he shoved a reporter from the Philadelphia Inquirer after a game last weekend. So we will get into that as well. So a jam-packed show here, the Rome Show, 12-ounce sports. You could follow us on the YouTube 12-ounce sports, or you could follow us on X 12-ounce sports. In both locations, you can comment live on the show, and we can work through that comment. We can put it on air, or we can at least have a nice conversation. I tell everybody the easiest way to watch the Rome Show or any of the great content on 12ouncesports.com is or be a habitual visitor of 12ozsports.com. And finally, we remind you every single week that there is a social media for the show that is linked directly with 12-ounce sports. It's The Rome Show, and you could follow it on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X, all of the social media sites. You can follow The Rome Show. I got to tell you, okay, And then I'm going to pop the college football standings 1 through 25 up on the screen right now. My beautiful fiance and I took a trip yesterday to a place in Randolph, New Jersey called the Golf Cave. Okay. And if you are following me on the aforementioned social media sites, the Rome Show 1, you'll be able to see some content from this excursion over the next few days. But I have to tell you, if you are somebody that likes the game of golf, even loves the game of golf, and you are looking for a place in the wintertime, even though I say this while it's 62 degrees out at 6 o'clock in the morning in the state of New Jersey, but if you are somebody for when the weather turns and outdoor golf weather is not necessarily in the cards anymore, if you are one of those people, Golf Cave is a place you need to check out. Golf Cave is all across the country, and the cool part about the Golf Cave, it's not just going in there to hit golf balls. We had a 2-camera setup. I had 1 camera behind me, 1 camera off to the side. It was linked into TrackMan data analytics, which told you your swing speed, where your club face was hitting the golf ball, how hard the ball was coming off your club, how far it was going, the trajectory, launch angle of your golf ball. It gave you everything. We had fire cushiony seats to sit in. We had YouTube TV, full package loaded on the television. There was a Bluetooth that connected to the surround sound speakers, and it was phenomenal. It was BYO for food and for drinks, and that was completely okay with us. Picked ourselves up some Fuddruckers. But the Golf Cave, look it up. I highly suggest if you are somebody looking to work on your golf game, you got to hit the Golf Cave. We spent 2 hours last night, and what a good time. So, like I said, check out the social medias. You'll see the stuff on the Golf Cave. But as a sports guy, and as a golf guy, anytime I hear about that stuff, I want to know, because I'm going to go and check it out myself. You need to check out the screen right now. If you're watching the Rome Show with your ojos, okay, I think those are eyes. And on the screen right now, you're going to see the top 25 for the college football playoff poll that was just released yesterday by the committee. Now, there are a few things to remember when we're looking at this college football playoff, and so I want to break those down right now. Here's the first, okay? 12 teams now get into the college football playoff. So the top 12 teams you see on your board right now are the 12 teams that, if the season ended right now, would make the college football playoff. But, okay, and this is what got me a little bit too. The top 4 teams in this list of 1 through 12 are not the automatic teams with a first round bye. Okay. And now this is where I started to get a little bit confused. So I'm going to flash some more information up on the screen for a moment, and then we'll go back to the top 25. So as you saw in the top 25, Oregon is the number 1 seed, then Ohio State, Georgia, Miami. Then it's Texas, Penn State 6, Tennessee 7, Indiana 8, BYU 9, Notre Dame 10, Alabama 11, and Boise State 12. So here is how this thing is going to work. The first 4 round games will be played at the home campus of the higher seeded team, and those games will go on December 20th and December 21st. So the 4 top seeded teams, essentially in the numbers 5 through 12, will host a playoff game on December 20 through 21. The teams that are ranked 1 through 4, now I'm doing air quotes because of the next thing I'm about to say, in the overall 1 through 12 would get a bye in the first round of the postseason. Now, I'm going to flip back to the top 25. The 4 teams you see here, Oregon, Ohio State, Georgia, and Miami, would not be the 4 bye teams guaranteed. And you might say to yourself, why? And that is because the new rule states that the top 4 seeds must be the conference champion from the Power 4 conferences. So the SEC conference champion, the ACC conference champion, the Big 10 conference champion, and the Big 12 conference champion. So now, if we flip back to that top 25 here and we look at the current standings, okay, Oregon is leading the Big 10 at number 1, so they would get a bye. Ohio State is not. The ACC number 1 team right now, if the season ended, would be Miami. So Oregon would have a first-round bye. Miami would have a first-round bye. In the Big 12, you'd go down to number 9. That's BYU. They would have a first-round bye. And then you go scroll back up to number 3 at Georgia as the SEC number 1, and they would have a first-round bye. So Oregon, number 1, Georgia, number 3, Miami, number 4. They would all be first-round byes. But because the rule states Power 4 conference champ 4 bye games, if BYU ends up winning that Big 12, they might not be the number 2 team in the country, but they would still be a bye on that first weekend. I think that creates a lot of interest because the number 2 team in Ohio State and the number 3 team in Georgia are all sitting there with 1 loss. So there are plenty of scenarios that could happen here where Oregon could lose, Georgia could lose, Miami could, everyone could lose, and you're looking at 9-0 Army team. I don't think they're going to from number 25. So let's use a better example. You're looking at a 9-0 Indiana team who's sitting at number 8 right now. You're looking at that 9-0 Indiana team jumping to a top 4 spot, but not having a bye the first weekend of the college football playoff. So it's very interesting. That's a very interesting caveat to this whole thing. So you get past the first round games, okay? Then the quarterfinal games, which would be the top 4 seeds as in conference champions in the Big 4 conferences, and then the 4 teams standing after the first round of the playoff will then play in the regularly scheduled program bowl games that you have come to know and to love over the course of the last eternity of your life. So the Fiesta Bowl, the Peach Bowl, the Rose Bowl, and the Sugar Bowl would be the 4 primary bowls, the Orange Bowl and the Cotton Bowl. So those would be the bowls that are going to make up the semifinals, and then you have the national championship game. I'm going to see if I got this sounder here from Rocky.
Are you thinking Tostitos Fiesta Bowl?
Oh, man, that could be one of my favorite sounders of all time. So there's your breakdown of the college football
Are you
playoff.
thinking Tostitos Fiesta Bowl?
Top 25 has been released. Some other notables in here. Colorado has made the jump. Deion Sanders and the boys are in the number 20 spot on this poll, sitting at a clean 6-2, competing in the Big 12 this season. Clemson, 2 losses, not great, but still in the top 25 at number 23, which I think is trending back towards the Clemson of old, but there is a long way to go for Clemson and the ACC as a whole if they want to keep competing. Boise State, number 12, SMU, number 13, and Army, number 25, round up the group of not Power 4 teams that are ranked in the top 25 of the college football playoff. The last thing I have on that is over the next few weeks, that's going to fluctuate a lot. If there's one thing I've learned about college football this season, it's that it's upset central. Penn State's coming off of a tough loss at home, up by 10 against Ohio State. They always tend to lose those games. They play a Washington team that's not great, but what's it going to look like at Penn State this week? Ohio State's playing a very bad Purdue team, Miami, Georgia Tech, Texas, Florida. Georgia has ranked Ole Miss, number 16 Ole Miss. Indiana, can they beat the defending champ on a down season? Michigan at home. So this is just 1 week. This is just next week. I mean, the way that the college football landscape has shifted now, it is a true gauntlet to get through your regular season schedule and get to preparation for the college football playoff. We are in week 11 right now. So there are 6 total weeks remaining, probably 5 for most schools in this season, and so much to be determined. So I would have to say that if I was to take a guess, and now this is just a guess of all guesses, if you're looking at this top 25 right now, okay, of the 25 teams in the first college football top 25, I would say 40% of these teams remain in the top 25 once the regular season ends. And I'd go farther in saying of the top 12, 20%. Seriously, I think 4 of the 12 teams right now in the top 12 will remain in those positions towards the end of the regular season. Every Wednesday, because every Tuesday the poll comes out. So every Wednesday we'll have the opportunity to break that down here on the Rome Show. You got any thoughts on the CFP, thoughts on anything else on the show? We remind you to comment live on YouTube or X, or get us on the social media, 12OZ Sports or the Rome Show 1. That's Instagram, that's Facebook, that's TikTok, that is X. You know the drill. I'm going to take a quick commercial break here, as we do on the Rome Show, because we like to pay our bills. When we come back, we got all of the NFL trade deadline moves and a little bit of information on the Joel Embiid 3-game suspension for the Philadelphia 76ers. The Rome Show here. 12ouncesports.com, broadcast live on YouTube and X. We'll be back in a moment after these commercial break.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them, with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right. At 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Yeah, it's the Rome Show. 12ouncesports.com. YouTube X. Those are our live platforms. We love when the people comment live. You can do that on YouTube. and F's, and then we can put it on the show. The Rome Show's on 12ouncesports.com every single day, 7 a.m. And then we replay at 12ouncesports.com every single day or on the YouTube page. So that's why I tell everyone, just follow the YouTube page. Okay, we are going to pop up here. I believe I did this correctly. If I didn't do this correctly, I am sorry. But the NFL trade deadline ended yesterday, and something I think I've noticed over the course of time in football is their trades and trade deadline did not necessarily operate like every other sport. Like baseball, hockey, and basketball, there's a general idea for most general managers and organizations of what can we do at the trade deadline? Can we make up some ground here? Can we manipulate our roster a little bit? Talk to an organization that has some needs and some wants and see what we could do here for both sides of the coin for maybe some immediate success to compete for a championship now or to build the organization for some long-term success. So here are some primary trades on your screen right now that happened in the National Football League over the course of the first 9 weeks of the season. Some of the most important ones, obviously, Davante Adams was traded to the Jets. We've had about 2 weeks to witness that, and it's clearly been pretty good. DeAndre Hopkins was traded to the Chiefs. Similar idea there. Then on trade deadline day, Mike Williams was traded to the Steelers, so he was unhappy in New York. He got to get out of there. And then Jonathan Mingo was traded to the Cowboys, who definitely need some help. Another wide receiver on the move, Amari Cooper, he ends up in Buffalo. Great situation for Amari Cooper, who was playing in Cleveland in the last 3 years and still putting up some pretty good numbers, but not what you would think Amari Cooper would be doing, is because there's no quarterback there. So now he goes to Buffalo with Josh Allen, who's kind of like a bag of tricks type talent guy around him, and it's working in Buffalo. So I'd love to see how that goes. And if you look on the right side of the screen, the primary give up here, minus the Seahawks and the Titans trade, which hurts for Jerome Baker because he goes to a bad Titans team. But my point is, a lot of these midseason trades for these National Football League teams are draft picks, 4th through 7th round, depending on the guy. Davante Adams' conditional 3rd round was probably the highest one on this list. Some other notable names, Tre'Davious White goes to Baltimore. Khalil Davis goes to the 49ers. Khalil Herbert to the Bengals. Marshawn Lattimore, he makes his way from New Orleans to Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh quite possibly had from New Orleans to Washington. I think Pittsburgh quite possibly had the best day, though, because they got Preston Smith, the edge rusher, as well. So you have multiple guys coming for Pittsburgh, one on each side, which is something that they needed. You see Baltimore all over this list. You see Buffalo floating in here. The Chiefs, starting with the DeAndre Hopkins pickup. And then they got Joshua Uche, the rusher from the Patriots. So a lot of movement in the National Football League. I think this could have been the most. I'm going to look this stat up for you for our Thursday show, but I think that could have been the most movement at a trade deadline that I have seen from the National Football League, at least in my lifetime. So check out your ball club and see what moves they have made, but a lot of shifting and a lot of moving in the National Football League. Tune into Friday's show when we break down this weekend's games and start to give you an idea. If you were wondering who tomorrow night's game is, it is the Bengals at the Ravens. Classic AFC North showdown on a Thursday. Quick note before we do our daily bananas. I don't know if you've seen this story. It's an interesting one. But Joel Embiid has been suspended by the National Basketball Association for 3 games for shoving Philly Inquirer columnist Marcus Hayes after a game last week. Hayes apparently wrote a column about Joel Embiid, whether it was about his commitment and his dad and his son got washed up in the article, or others in his family got washed up in the article. Joel Embiid was visibly not happy with Marcus. And he said this: the next time you bring up my dead brother and my son again, you're going to see what I'm going to do to you. And I'm going to have to live with the consequences, Embiid said to Hayes during their confrontation. Hayes did offer an apology, but that was, and then the words were removed from the column, but apparently Embiid rejected the apology. Embiid later came out saying, I don't care what the reporter says. And Marcus Hayes responded with it, clearly you do, which he's correct about. And Joel Embiid then gets suspended. If you've been wondering what's he up to this year, nothing, because he has been hurt with this left knee thing again. It's been a weird start to the season for Joel Embiid. The league's investigating whether or not he's actually hurt. And now he's suspended for 3 games for shoving a reporter, and he will lose $1.063 million in that 3-game suspension as well. So needless to say, I don't think the Joel Embiid investment for the Philadelphia 76ers is necessarily working out right now. So we will see what goes on from that story over the next few days. But you can't be putting your hands on reporters. You might not like them. They might piss you off. They might bother you, but you can't be putting your hands on reporters. You can't be disrespecting people like that. Hey, you have a job. That guy's got a job. You might not like what he wrote, and you might have to squash that problem. That's fine. You can have human-to-human issues, but you can't be, as Joel Embiid, as the guy that's the face of the Philadelphia 76ers franchise, acting that way. That is not how the face of a franchise acts. So good on the NBA coming down on Embiid. I think that was a really good play. I have been struggling on some really good plays for the people in Daily Bananas 2 and 4 over my last 6 picks. So right now we are going to try and turn that around. And 109 yesterday. I had Nate McKinnon with a point. He had a 5. He's 5 assists last night for the Colorado Avalanche. I wanted the Penguins money line against the Islanders. They lost in a shootout, and then the Wild lost 4-3. I had their money line as well. So that's a 1 and 2 day. Tonight we're gonna go National Basketball Association. The first one I'm taking is a very fun game in my opinion. The Warriors are taking on the Boston Celtics in Boston. Right now, the Celtics are favored by 7.5 points. And listen, I think that the Celtics are really good, but right now the Warriors are proving to be really good again too, with their new mix of characters and no Klay Thompson anymore. So a sidelines with Steph Curry and Steve Kerr still on it, I'm going to take my odds on. So give me the Warriors at the plus 7.5. I think that's a pretty big number. Okay, the Cleveland Cavaliers are looking for a bid of, can we stay perfect? I'm going to say yes, they can. They're playing a down Pelican team with injuries, and there's just no, what are the Pelicans? Who are we building around? What are we going to be? The Cavs, they kind of have an idea with Garland and the group. Give me the Cavaliers. They're also favored by 7.5. I will take the Cavs with the points minus 7.5. And then I'm going to take the Los Angeles Clippers money line against the aforementioned Philadelphia 76ers, because I just don't believe in the 76ers at all. Those are your Daily Bananas. That's the Rome Show here on 12ouncesports.com. Dingo, woo, maybe not. I have no idea. YouTube, X, whatever. Follow us, subscribe, be electric today. Andrew Romanella back tomorrow. Peace.
Thank you for listening.